Days of Our Lives spoilers. Can Jack, Jennifer, and Chad agree on a choice? The creativity crisis is a myth. How AI is unlocking a new renaissance of human imagination. For years, headlines have warned of a creativity crisis. Studies pointed to declining scores on Torrance tests of creative thinking in children since the 1990s, and a culture of standardized testing and risk aversion was blamed for stunting our imaginative growth. But a quiet revolution is underway, one that is fundamentally reshaping what it means to be creative. Contrary to the doom-laden prophecies, we are not becoming less creative. We are standing on the brink of a new renaissance, powered by an unexpected catalyst: artificial intelligence. The old model of creativity was built on the myth of the lone genius, the painter in a garret, the writer battling a blank page, the composer hearing symphonies in silence. This model was not only romantic but also exclusionary, framing creativity as a scarce resource possessed by a talented few. Today, that model is being dismantled. Creativity is being redefined as a collaborative, iterative, and technology-mediated process. At the heart of this shift is AI, not as a replacement for human imagination, but as its most powerful amplifier. From blank canvas to collaborative spark, consider the creative process now available to millions. A graphic designer doesn't start with a blank Photoshop file. She converses with a text-to-image model, using iterative prompts to explore visual concepts at the speed of thought. A melancholic robot tending a neon garden, cyberpunk watercolor, yields a dozen starting points in seconds. The AI doesn't create the final artwork, but it annihilates creative block, turning the terrifying void of the empty canvas into a playground of possibilities. The human role shifts from executing every brushstroke to curating, editing, and imparting soul, the essential choices of selection, emotional resonance, and narrative. Similarly, a writer struggling with a plot point can use a large language model to generate alternative narrative turns, dialogue snippets, or character backstories. It acts as an infinite, patient brainstorming partner. The author's creativity is no longer measured solely by their ability to conjure words from nothing, but by their taste, editorial discernment, and ability to weave AI-generated raw material into a coherent, compelling whole. This is the new creativity: orchestration over origination alone. Democratization at scale. The most profound impact is the democratization of creative tools. High-quality animation, musical composition, video editing, and 3D design, once requiring years of specialized training and expensive software, are now accessible through intuitive AI interfaces. A teenager in their bedroom can score a short film with emotionally tailored music. A small business owner can generate a professional brand identity, and an educator can illustrate complex scientific concepts with custom-generated images. This is not about making everyone an Oscar-winning director. It's about expanding the population of active creators versus passive consumers. When the barrier to entry plummets, the diversity of voices skyrockets. We are witnessing an explosion of microgenres in music, hyper-niche visual aesthetics, and storytelling forms that blend mediums in previously impossible ways. The creative ecosystem is becoming richer, more diverse, and more participatory. The new creative skills: prompting, curation, and critical judgment. As the tools change, so do the essential skills. Prompt engineering is the new literacy of imagination. It's the ability to translate amorphous creative intent into a language that guides an AI, a blend of precision, poetry, and technical understanding. This skill is itself deeply creative, akin to a director guiding an actor or a conductor shaping an orchestra's sound. Furthermore, with an infinite firehose of generated content, the premium shifts to curation and critical judgment. The creative mind of the future is that of a master editor, a savvy pattern recognizer who can spot the gem in a pile of algorithmic outputs and refine it with human touch. The ability to ask the right question, to steer the process, and to imbue the output with meaning and context becomes the core creative act. Challenges in the new frontier. This transformation is not without its perils. Intellectual property and copyright are in a legal gray zone. The risk of homogenization. where AI models, trained on the past, simply recycle old ideas, is real. There is a danger of over-reliance, where human creative muscles atrophy, and the emotional authenticity of AI-generated art is a subject of intense, valid debate. Yet, these challenges are not endpoints. They are the friction points of a paradigm shift. They are pushing us to develop new ethical frameworks, to value human experience and imperfection more highly, and to define what we uniquely bring to the creative table. The answer isn't to reject the tool, but to more fiercely champion the irreplaceable human elements: intention, vulnerability, subjective experience, and the desire to connect with other human beings. The Renaissance is networked. The first Renaissance was fueled by new technologies like the printing press and linear perspective, which democratized knowledge and redefined artistic representation. Our new Renaissance is fueled by neural networks. It is characterized not by a singular style, but by infinite personalization. It is not about the genius working alone, but about the human mind in a feedback loop with an intelligent system, a partnership that extends our capabilities. The creativity crisis was a narrative born from measuring the wrong things with the wrong tools. We were measuring the ability to perform in isolation, under constraints of the past. True creativity is adaptive. It thrives when given new mediums and new possibilities. The evidence of this renaissance is already everywhere. In the AI-assisted album that blends 100 musical genres, in the indie video game built by a solo developer with generative art, in the bespoke digital fashion worn by avatars. The crisis is over. The new age of imagination has already begun. It is louder, messier, more accessible, and more collaborative than ever before. The call to action is no longer "be creative," but rather, what will you imagine next, and how will you use these new tools to bring it into the world? The blank page is dead. Long live the conversation.